Good morning, Libra. How's everybody doing today? I hope that everyone is well. I'm looking so forward to talking about the messages that are coming through for the month of August. I spent a good amount of time this morning having some sort of psychic downloads, putting it all on paper, and I'm really excited about some of the energy coming through, a lot of which has to do with change. And I'm here to help you navigate all of these opportunities. I'm going to put this little guy down so that we can focus. And I'd like to give you a proper introduction if you're brand new. To anybody that just joined today, thank you so much for checking out the channel. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. If you're a return viewer, I'm so glad that you came back. As I said, I feel like today we have some really exciting information to cover and sort of a myriad of information actually to go through here. So I'll take my time and try to bring it to you in the best way possible. If you're brand new, I'd like to kind of give you some information on how this is set up. First of all, you can use it for your sun, your rising, and also for your moon sign if you happen to know those. And you can watch on behalf, of course, of someone in your life that you care about. If you don't know all of that information, you can just stick with your birth sign, and that's going to be more than enough. And I always put this into 4 major parts. We'll begin with the big download at the beginning. That's what I call channeled information. And I receive that both in dream and also right before I get started, I meditate. So it's a combination of the two. Then I'm going to use the deck of cards that I've selected today, and I'll pull a traditional Celtic Cross, which will help me identify for the sign of Libra highlights, challenges, and other opportunities in between that can really help shape the month ahead. I'm a firm believer in free will, and the fact that you're showing up a little bit early before the month gives you a lot of opportunity to take what you see here and make the most of it. That's really what this is about. Then after we do the Celtic Cross, we'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And afterwards, I'll review everything quickly before we get into soul path work. And this is going a little bit deeper than the month of August. This is going to be looking at how you can really kind of take a change or make some sort of a difference in your overall path for the rest of the year. And each month, there's a sort of different theme that's coming through. And we'll talk about that as I get into the channeled messages for you. And then we meditate at the very end using a singing bowl or sound bath, which will allow everything to integrate. And it's just a nice way to wrap everything up as well. And that is everything in a nutshell. I'd like to, it's so great to see everybody from across the world. This is one of the great things about YouTube and living in this time right now. You know, there's a lot going on in the world that's crazy, but it's great that we can have this community here to help ground us and keep everything in a really great place. So thanks for showing up and making my day. You really have done that. I'd like to thank both Ryan and Maria. They do an excellent job of moderating and holding this space while I do my thing. So those are my moderators. Treat them kindly and they'll do the same to you. And that's it. Let's get started, okay? I would like to begin by talking about the first thing that came to me. And this actually came through in my dreams. And what I saw last night or the night before, I can't remember which night it was, but it was an image of, it was almost as if you were in like as a flower or some sort of a plant, but you're in a pot and there was a need to sort of like break free. So it's this energy of feeling like you were outgrowing something. And, you know, even like if you have an old t-shirt from when you were a kid, you try it on as an adult, it's going to be too small. Just like we need to kind of like grow and increase our size to sort of be able to live in this world, or a snake has to shed its skin. I feel like that's kind of the symbol of this month for you, would be to shed your skin or to transplant or to kind of like make a bigger space for yourself. And so that's actually what I put as the first message here, is that this is a time to transplant. You've either outgrown a current situation. That situation could be a relationship, a job, a way of thinking. There's some sort of shift that wants to happen this month, and basically growth and expansion are some of the key energies that are coming through at the very beginning. So I see this as very positive, very auspicious. It just depends on where you want to grow. And of course, if you're ready for that growth as well. In order for that to happen, you need to have space. You need to have room. Sometimes this is sort of symbolic, not necessarily literally having room. It could just be giving yourself a space or freedom to try something new. You know, when we're kids, we can do this all the time. You know, one day you think you want to be a nurse, then you want to be a fire person, then you want to be like whatever. Every day it's something different, but a firefighter rather. I want you to have that same freedom to dream, to explore, to try, even to fail. That's not necessarily the worst thing. You have to be able to kind of go into different directions to make sure that you're examining all the opportunities. And then once you've sort of landed on where that change or where that sort of growth is going to be, this is the most essential piece of it. I would say be gentle with yourself and others, because it takes time for those new roots to get established. For those of you who may have moved, maybe across country or to a different country, I'm sure you've experienced that feeling at the beginning where you wonder, like, did I just make either the best decision or the worst mistake of my life? And isn't it amazing how each month changes your perspective, and maybe 1 or 2 years after you've made that pivotal move, things start to feel right. They just start to fall into a kind of routine that feels good. But if you think of the second or third or fourth day that you were in your new home or your new job or the new school, you start to think like, gosh, I don't know if I made the right decision. It takes time when you transplant. I like dealing with plants and with nature. And if you ever propagate something, like take a cutting, sometimes you have to wait for it to heal before you put it into soil. Once you put it in the soil, you can't overwater it. You have to let the roots start to work. And once they start to grow, then you have to give it plenty of water. There's all these different phases to allowing something that was here to go here and to kind of have a fresh start. So I get this feeling that you could be trying that this particular month. You could start to think about, what else could I do? What's the new phase? You might be thinking of moving. That's part of that pot that in my dream, I saw like myself taking a hammer to the pot so the roots could expand and I could put it in something else. If you've ever dealt with something that's root bound, sometimes that's the only way you can get it out. If it's a clay pot, is just to gently crack it open and then put it in something else. So I like the growth is there, but it feels like there's something restricting or constricting the growth. So whether it's people around you that are holding you back, kind of like the chariot trying to pull you back, or whether it's your own restricted way of thinking that won't allow yourself to go down a path because of fear of failure. These are the things that you want to examine over the course of August. And for those of you that are joining me live this month, to also kind of make sure that you're setting yourself up to be open for the month ahead. The next piece, which did come through last night, actually, I remember this distinctly, was, and I don't play sports, but it was the metaphor of kind of being on the bench, waiting for your turn is what I got from this. And what my guides were whispering to me was that there was cosmic timing at play. So if there is a delay that is out of your hands because of a cancellation, because of coronavirus, because of someone in front of you who had a little bit more seniority, then there are a couple of things that you could consider. First is the place where you're at, whether it's a job or a school, or if it's a relationship and you're waiting for someone to notice you. Is this the best match for you? Because there could be an opportunity for you to just kind of have a reality check and think, why hasn't this other person acknowledged who I am? I'm good with myself. I'm ready to move forward. If they're not, then that's a sign that maybe I should take this energy, take this insight, and move somewhere else. So that was the transplanting, and it kind of goes hand in hand with this message. The other thing is, if you're waiting, there might be a chance to further bake whatever the idea is that you might be working on, or the product is that you might be developing, or if it's something in your own person that you're trying to work on, this is your chance to just get even a little bit better. So when you get to the front of the gate and it's your turn to shine or to compete or to show up, then you really feel solid about it. So again, the first piece was that you were kind of like on the bench or benched, waiting in a queue, waiting in a line. But there's cosmic timing here, and the question that the universe is whispering in your ear is, are you ready? And if you are, then this is your time to possibly make the move that we talked about. And you don't have to wait for the other person to be ready for you. But if you're not, or if there's hesitation, take this time to get everything together, because basically the universe didn't want you to go out there unprepared. Once you kind of have your moment to shine, and I kind of feel like this is an inevitability for you, there's a chance for success on the horizon, there's a chance for a move, there's a chance for change. One thing I want you to keep in mind is to help someone else in your path. In the vision, I saw you leaving some things behind on the bench, and the next person took it and they were so grateful. And you didn't ask, or you just kind of left it there and you didn't need it anymore, but someone was really happy. So know that leaving a legacy is a great thing. So if you're a senior citizen, if you've graduated from a school and you're successful, if you're just at a point in your life where you've made it, and I hope a lot of you have, that's a good thing. Think of ways that you can help others that might be struggling, so that you're paying it forward, basically, or paying it back, as it were. The other thing is there may be someone in your vicinity, in your periphery, that needs some assistance, but is too proud, too shy, too insecure to come to you and say, I really need some help. So keep an open eye, keep an open ear, and sort of see what's going on around you. And if you can give any assistance to people as you start to get on your own path of success, do it. It's good karma. And also it feels like there's someone that could benefit from that, okay? And then, yeah, basically, I also feel like someone is out there waiting for you too. This waiting felt kind of mutual to me. So you're kind of waiting to get discovered or waiting for the next big thing. Someone might be waiting for that right person to come. So if you're on that bench and like I said, you're feeling like you're stuck somewhere, for many of you, this could be a job where you're just not, you've hit a glass ceiling, you can't get any further. This is saying, look around for that person that is exactly looking for your type of skill set or your personality. This is your breakthrough. It does require a little bit of work on your part. So hopefully that resonates and that makes sense. Listen to this at different points in the month because you may get a different insight depending on when you're listening. A lot of times when I say this early, you may think, I don't know. As the month continues, some of these messages will make more sense. Okay, so the very final piece, there was a little bit of magic that came into my dream. I don't know those of you that have read or seen any of the Harry Potter books or films, but there was I think he had a cloak of invisibility, right? So what I was seeing was somebody putting this on in the vision, in the dream, and discovering something about what was going on. Kind of, there was a revelation. By them just listening and fading into the background, we could just abstract this a little bit. If you just blend in and let other people talk, let other people reveal themselves, then you're gonna see true intentions and true colors, because sometimes people just run their mouth and they'll say things no matter what. And so to be able to kind of figure out if you're in the right place at the right time, just listen and open the third eye and see what's going on, because I feel like you can get a really quick temperature check by doing that. The other thing that I was picking up on is that for some of you, there could be a morale issue or some gossip that's going on. And that's something that you want to be cognizant of and careful of as well. So one of the important things with respect to gossip, of course, is not to put too much weight in it. A lot of times people are sometimes just caught up in the moment, and it's exciting to talk about things, and but you never know what the source is, how valid that is. So if you see gossip going on, I would say just remove yourself from that space. Not a good thing to do. If you're in a position of power and there's things going on in the workplace, I think it's kind of to be expected right now, actually. Boosting morale is going to be really important. Have some face-to-face personal talks with people and allow them to understand that you care about them, okay? That's super important. Fix problems before they grow. We spent a lot of time today talking about, taking a plant and putting it in something new. Pruning things is also important, and nipping things in the bud. So like if you do see someone that is gossiping, that is doing something wrong, that is just acting in a way that is inappropriate, the sooner you can deal with that, the better. So paying attention, listening will help you kind of discover people's true colors. I wrote it in smaller text there. Paying attention to morale, not doing your own part. Basically, if someone is gossiping, don't get involved in that, because that's going to deplete the morale. If you're in a position of power, you want to do whatever you can to try to deal with any of these things that might come to your attention. And then also fix the problems. Don't sort of close your eyes and close your ears to that. This is a month of unveiling, revealing, and hopefully embracing the truth. One thing that I was seeing with that invisibility cloak is that it wasn't going to last. And so don't stretch the truth. All will be revealed. That was what my guides conveyed to me. Also, step into the truth. If there's something that you need to come clean about this month, get it out and control the dialogue so that you're not catching up to it. Because that was another thing that I saw was somebody trying to explain their way out of something. It's always better to say, hey, I think I might have made an error in judgment, or, I regret having said or done this. I'd like to fix it. It's better to just be accountable and say, here's how I think I could do it. And if you need to apologize or if you need to make amends, do it. The sooner the better, the less of a cleanup it'll be, the more you're going to come across as someone who is growing, right? We all make mistakes. It's all about accountability, ownership, and intention to be better in the future. Nobody's perfect. We're kind of in a culture right now where we expect perfection from everybody, and it's destructive on some levels. We should be encouraging growth. We should be acknowledging places where we could have done better. We should never sort of punish people forever for one mistake. So if there's someone in your life, whether it's a parent, a coworker, or anybody, and they made a mistake and they're doing better, lift them up and help them get on that path. Especially kids, they need to believe that they can be better. If you kind of typecast them in a role, then they will live up to that role. And I had an experience, I've talked about this before, but it's good to mention again, where I moved across country from the western states to the East Coast. And I had a not so great school system that I was in where there's a lot going on in my life. My dad was moving to the other side of the country before the rest of the family was. And I was there just with my mom for a little bit. And I was just having trouble focusing and everything. And they were constantly putting me in detention and giving me a hard time. And the good thing was I didn't care, but I kind of felt like they weren't my advocate. And then I went to the East Coast, and when my whole family was reunited, suddenly started to grow, and I was encouraged. And I thought, oh my gosh, I guess I'm not a bad kid. I was just told I was a bad kid for like a year and a half, and it started to sink in. So give people space to be good. Give people space to grow, to improve, to be better than you think they might be, because everyone has that potential. Especially kids. I think sometimes there are no bad kids. There's just bad situations around them that imprint upon them, and they kind of absorb that. So let's kind of try to heal the world a little bit, give people space to be better than you think they could be. Convince me that you can be the person that I think you can be, because I see it there for you. It's better to hold that space. Finally, this truth will help facilitate a move or a change. Could be within you, could be within someone else, as I was just talking about. So those are the high-level psychic downloads for today. And now we're going to get into the Celtic Cross. Let me just arrange these cards here. I'd like to welcome the new channel member that just joined. Thank you so much for being part of the community. That makes a big difference for all of you that support me on Patreon or support me here on YouTube. That's how I can continue to buy new supplies and just stay here and do what I'm doing. So much appreciation. I forgot to mention, by the way, if you would like to show support, that channel membership is a great way to do it, liking and subscribing. You can also do a super chat or super sticker. I'm one of the few intuitives that will not do Q&A or pick a card as I'm reading, because it really takes me out of the flow. But I do see when you guys do that, and it makes the world of difference, and it means the world to me. So thank you so much. All right, let's look at the cards now. I'm going to take my time here to get everything set up, but give me just a moment, and then we will break down each and every card and each and every message. Again, this is for August 2020, but as I look at the past, the deep past in the past, a lot of these messages may resonate for those of you that are watching in July. Thanks again looks like we have another new member. Thank you so much for both of you that joined today. I really appreciate it. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being patient. Let's talk about the Catalyst card, which for me is a way to connect everything that we're seeing. It keeps you on the high path, helps you avoid any problems. And I'm using Ganesha this month to help us overcome any potential obstacles in our life. So this card was reversed, but one of the important things is there's really nothing negative with Ganesha. So I would say trust your power. The card itself is about empowerment. So some of you may be in a place where you have either inadvertently sort of been in a place where you give a lot to others, a nurturer, a manager, a nurse, a healer. And this is a reminder for you to also own some of your own power, take it back if people around you make you second guess yourself, et cetera, or if you're just feeling depleted. So you have more power, more energy, more potential than you think. You can focus right there around the belly button on that third chakra point. And really, this is where you can start to give birth to your ideas. And we saw growth and expansion happening. If there's something that you want to develop or create, you can kind of hold that space, just like a pregnant mom would kind of hold her belly. You can imagine that you're feeling the power, the creativity well up within you, and channel that through the other chakra systems in your body. So great card here. This is saying take the initiative, take accountability, as we talked about earlier, and don't be afraid to take charge as well in all of your relationships. You have potential to move things in the right direction. We have a card at the center which really mirrors that. Mama Bear here with the Queen of Pentacles. And that really is what I'm seeing as well with that is really divine, creative energy. But I like that we see a strong bear for the divine feminine here. So you can be powerful and you can also be, fruitful and creative and nurturing at the same time. So whether you're a man or a woman this month, I don't really read cards for gender. This is about making sure that you can balance that energy of creativity and receptivity and also empowerment, as we saw here. So really, and you can see the same sort of color here, really work with that ability to take charge this month, okay? So, and she's upright. So this is a great card for taking something and seeing it to completion, for taking charge of something, for healing, for growing. Thank you so much, by the way, Cheryl. And anybody else that in your life kind of needs some assistance, this is a really great way for you to sort of say, like, I'm like, look at me here. That was something that I see with the bench card too. So, there are sometimes situations, whether it is a relationship or a job, where you're just never going to get noticed, right? And you have what it takes. This is your month to stand up and either let them know that it's time or just move on, better yet. Because I feel like one of the important things here is reciprocity. So if you're not getting that sort of energy back, then it's time for you to find a place where you can, okay? On top of this, we have a card that I think nobody loves, the Five of Wands. With the Five of Wands, there's often this sort of encouragement to just not give up. And sometimes there is a need for you to find your inspiration or your power and your purpose, because we can get lost in the thicket or in the weeds sometimes with this. And if you look at this, it's an archer card. So what I would like you to do is to focus on what you're trying to do rather than just sort of constantly doing the same thing or maybe just kind of getting lost in the shuffle. Do something that makes you stand out, pick a point of view that really matters, and go after it. So this is a card of empowerment, success, and making a difference, and sometimes even self-employment for some of you. This is a card of working to get it done, but using that sort of archer ability that we see there to really make a difference. So your voice matters. Not everyone has seen that in the past, but I can see it here. So take charge, take aim, and go in the direction that you need to go, okay? Even if that means moving from where you're at, okay? We have the High Priestess in reverse in the deep past. She's the seer in this particular deck. And one thing that comes through, and this is really relevant for those of you that happen to be watching the live feed right now. Is there anything going on in your collective lives right now where you feel like, I know better. I know that this is my chance or this is my time, or I really feel like I have to do this. But for some reason, whether it's pressure from family, pressure from the world or whatever's going on around you. You're just not listening to yourselves. If you know what that is, if you know what that situation is, then please don't ignore your higher self. It's coming through and it's trying to guide you. We actually have here in the final card here, the pole star, the star. And this is about you stepping into that light. But the pole star, the North Star, is also a guide, a guidance for you. Your GPS is trying to show you the right way. So whatever feels off a little bit to you, acknowledge it. Whatever feels on and correct and right, acknowledge that. And I read earlier, some of you that are exploring your own psychic skills, this is a great month to do that. It feels like that's something that's been latent for a while. So if that's something that you want to go deeper into, you wouldn't be joining this particular reading and this particular channel if you weren't interested in expanding your own intuitive abilities. So go for it. But as you start to open up, one thing that you'll learn sometimes is you see things that you didn't expect, maybe that you didn't want to know or that you weren't ready to know at that moment. Don't freak out. Take a deep breath, meditate a little bit, figure out what the symbols were and why it came through. And you'll start to get better at decoding things and also just preparing yourself and thinking, well, I didn't expect that, but I'm glad I know it because now I know how to navigate, okay? Sometimes when you get intuition, it just comes out of left field and you think, okay, that was unexpected, but I'm gonna be better for that knowledge, if that makes sense. As we look here in the recent past, we have the Page of Wands, and it's in, actually, I'm sorry, the Page of Swords in reverse. So this is you, and this is actually about your ability right now to, there's two things, be direct, and now that Mercury is direct, that's a good thing, but also not to be overly critical. I like that they use birds in this particular deck to illustrate swords. So this page starts off small. It's like the little seed or the start that we were talking about. And like any bird, it could grow larger, although the wren may already be something that's kind of small. But what I'm seeing here is a small message, a small idea, a little change that's happening, and that could create a really big effect. It's kind of like one small sound can create an avalanche. So know that this is the beginning of something big, and this is where, you know, your voice is important, and I want you to use it wisely. With the card in reverse, there's always an encouragement to be direct, but also be constructive as you are direct. So I think if you manage to do a little bit of the two this month, that's going to be a good thing. So I like that. I also think the fact that this bird is in the recent past and it's kind of reversed tells me that there could be some sort of a message coming through from an unexpected channel. So, you know, if you were looking for something, whether it's trying to find love or trying to find a new job, you could hear about it in a roundabout way. So maybe there's something with a coworker where they introduce you to someone and that's how you make a connection. That could be like a love interest, or you could be hanging out with friends and you could get a lead for a job. Something weird about communication is important. And like I said, if you just stand back a little bit, listen, and you're ready for that, I think being prepared and being open is going to be key to hopefully to doing something really positive with that. Notice that this card is in winter, by the way. So for some of you, it's going to take some time for whatever you're doing to be sort of fully developed. Give it time. Don't rush anything, because originally when I saw that transplant, it was either a start or a seed, something new, something just taking root, and then it grew really fast and needed a new pot. So I feel like there's rapid growth after this period of waiting. So just be prepared for that expansion that's going to happen. We have another page. So we just got the Page of Swords. Now we have the Page of Cups. We have the otter here representing the Page of Cups. And for many of you, this can be a time to sort of explore your creative side. It could also be a chance to be a little bit more open and exploring relationships as well. So if you're in a relationship, working on communication looks like it's something that might be left over from last month or from the past few months. So improving communication so that you can have a richer, deeper relationship. That's the message between the two. For those of you that might be looking for love, it's about not being afraid to go out and ask somebody out, or to sort of put yourself out there, be more outspoken. For those of you that are single and happy, these two cards together are about not being afraid to express your passion or your point of view, especially if you're trying to get noticed in a place of work or at school. For those of you that might be retired, these cards are about having fun, actually, and not being afraid, again, to speak up and find your voice. As we look into the near future, we have the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Wands is in reverse. And the interesting thing about this, Nine of Wands is typically a card of being qualified, of fighting for something, sometimes getting exhausted. This one is about respect, it says here on the caption here. And we have kind of like a green man type energy with this. One thing that I like about Nine of Wands is that it tells me that you've done most of what you need to do to get to the next level, that you just need to be persistent and get that last piece finished. A lot of times when we hit nines, particularly the Nine of Wands, there's this feeling of, oh, I'm so ready for something to happen. Why is it taking, longer? And the encouragement with this, normally you would see someone with bandages on their forehead, right? So it's an indication of like, look at how far you've come. Look at the blood, sweat, and tears, figuratively, that you've been through, and go that extra mile. Push a little bit more. That missing piece was what we saw here at the center. That extra push, this last mile that you're running. These two cards definitely go hand in hand. So it feels like you might want to give up. It feels like you might be a little exhausted, that other people might be pushing you down. This card is saying, take aim and don't give up. You're nearly there. Have this sort of protective energy that we see with the mama bear here at the center, okay? Fight for what matters. Fight for yourself. Fight for your prosperity, for your point of view, for your love, whatever it is, fight. But a good kind of fighting. It's that sort of perseverance, not necessarily arguing, just to give it a little bit more of painting in the corners there so you're not confused. Lots of archery in this particular deck. We go between arrows and bows a lot here, but we actually have the archer here showing up saying, this is your time rather to take control. So in this particular deck, it's the Chariot, and the Chariot is saying, what is it in your life that you feel like either other people might have taken away from you or that you've let slip? This is your chance to take aim, take control of that, and fix it. For some of you, it could be, like I said, accountability. Maybe you let something slip and you got to just own up to it. There might be something going wrong in your life and you need to really focus on that situation and resolve it as well. This is about not trying to do everything, being kind of mindful of priorities and also your ability to sort of systematically and also, I would say, with a targeted approach, get things done one at a time. Sometimes you can multitask, sometimes you have to narrow the field a little bit. If there's anyone in your life that you can lean on, that you can delegate to, this might be a good time to have them step in to assist you. All right, so we had the Five of Wands at the center. Now we have the Five of Swords, which I don't love as much in the environment. This can have to do with tricky communication, right? A lot of times it's difficult to win an argument when we see something like this. It often is a sister card to the Seven of Swords, which is about a lack of accountability, about sometimes people doing things behind scenes or literally just not telling the truth. For this one, you can't win everything. And if somebody puts you in a position where you feel like this animal and you're kind of stuck and trying to dodge all of this, you don't have to do that. I think what you want to do is slow down. And if there is any kind of communication where someone puts you on the defensive, you want to de-escalate it and acknowledge the frustration that they are sort of expressing to you and say, I can tell you're upset. I agree that this is important. Let's work together because this is not helping. If we can both come up with some things that we need to work on and find a mutual way to work it out, I think we're going to be able to solve this. Thank you again. It's so great to see 3 new members today. So communication, cooperation, empathy. Empathy is going to be your friend on this one. I think you want to acknowledge the pain, the frustration, or the difficulty that the other person is having. And this will help them sort of go from the offensive to maybe being more receptive. Okay. So it's never easy. I mean, we've all been in the crosshairs, right? Like when someone's aiming all of these arrows at you and you're like, and so sometimes you can't help but to just sort of retaliate. But what that does is that'll take it to a higher suit of swords. It could get it all the way to like the Ten of Swords, which we don't want. So de-escalate, empathize, reestablish boundaries, take your control back, but do it in a way that is not about, notice how we don't have anything abusive here in the wands. We don't have like the 10 of Wands in reverse. We have the 9 of Wands, which can be a little pushy, but the way this one is set up is really about not giving up. So don't get physically imposing, don't get verbally sort of cruel or harsh. Just be firm and say, this isn't how we're going to handle it. I'm going to get some help, or let me talk to my manager. Let me talk to someone else. We're going to solve this. Don't worry about it. That's it. I feel like de-escalation is the key with that. Okay. So if something pops up and it feels like you're in the hot seat, don't step away from it, but don't feel like you have to kind of sit in the frying pan. There's a better way to deal with that. Okay. Right above it, we have a really good card, actually, the Three of Pentacles. Notice how grounded this person is. I think we have a lot of green men and green women in this particular deck. It's Wildwood, in case you're curious. And so with this, notice how she's taking her time to really assess the situation, to know where she stands. And by the way, there's the sort of roots that I was talking about earlier. She's taking time to get established and to understand. If any of you are sort of finding yourself in a new situation, for some of you, you might be adopting a child, for instance, and the kid is trying to find a way to sort of gel with your family. For some of you, you might be starting a job and you feel like, I just don't belong here. Or you just moved. One of these situations where you're in a new space, it's going to take some time, but I actually feel like things are going to be okay. Three of Pentacles is one of the best cards possible because it shows growth, respect, finishing things. It shows completion, and this is in your hopes, fears, and possibilities. So I think that the best thing that you could do is finish something that you started, give something time to settle. And this is the card of higher education or education in general. And that's something that we're hearing a lot about right now because there's a lot of question marks about it. So for those of you that happen to be students, or maybe you're wanting to go back to school, you could be a non-traditional student, maybe, you know, mid-career or later in life, and you're thinking of going back. If there's something you truly want to do, even if it is remote, get started. Don't give up. It's important that those teachers need a job. You need to move forward. If this is something that you want, it's important, and you'll navigate this. And if you're a student and you're feeling like this isn't what I signed up for, this is the world. This is the world adjusting and changing. And if you can get through this, you can get through anything. If you give up this easily, it's going to be hard. So you want to think of this as a challenge. Like, it's not how I thought it would be, you know, whether it's your freshman, sophomore, senior year, who cares? This isn't what I thought I would have, but you're going to learn so much by getting through this. Imagine that you, because this is true, by the way, all of us came here to this planet at this time so that we could experience the changes of 2020. This is a PhD level, massive crammed AP, you know, higher level course that we decided to take on survival, on empathy, on intuitive development, on taking care of one another, being strong, all of these things. So it's a blessing, even though it feels like it's not a blessing right now. And it doesn't diminish some of the sort of sacrifices that many of us are making, but it does explain, like, you know what, we're not being tortured. We're not being, this isn't like things were taken away. We chose on a soul level. We forgot because we come through this particular life with amnesia, but we chose on a soul level to experience this. So don't beat up everything in the universe. You chose it on a soul level. So embrace the experience and make the most of it. And part of that for many of you is to learn. So either in a traditional setting or on a symbolic level, or deciding to go deeper into esoteric arts like what I'm doing. Whatever it is, there's a lot of learning to be had and a lot of growth to be had. And August starts to bring it into focus. It's like if I put on my glasses and all of a sudden I can see things more clearly. That's kind of what August is. It's your glasses being put on so that you can get a clearer view of what's going on. Okay? And yes, knowledge is powerful, and you'll never regret finishing something, especially for those of you that may just have another year or another semester, or it's your first year and you have a scholarship. Go, take advantage of it. These things, these windows don't open up all the time. And there are some advantages going to this sort of like non-traditional approach. You may have more one-on-one with the professors. you may not have to work as hard to get acknowledged or to get ahead. So look at it. The coin has two sides. Look at the positive side on this one, okay? Your outcome card is the star or the pole star on this one, which is like Polaris or the North Star. To me, this is following your heart, following your intuition, stepping into the light, and also realizing that, you know, the path has always been there. It just takes a while to reveal itself sometimes. And I can't remember which sign I was talking to about this, but one of the messages that I said this month was that there are no coincidences. And so if you can look at everything that you've chosen in your life as sort of like the foundation to create the human being that's sitting in front of us right now, then you don't look back on things and think that that was wasted or that was unnecessary. Everything made you who you are, made you as strong as you are, made you as empathetic as you are. So own it and now step into the true you. And integration really is kind of, I said that this is all about revealing this particular month. So I want you to step into your power. This is a good year to really be the star because there's less fear of rejection, not as much bullying, especially if you're, you know, a student, you're working remotely and you want to try new things. Like, you can be more yourself because who's going to be upset if you're shining in your house, right? So shine brightly, be you, get used to this new skin. And by the time you kind of step out into the world and you've shed the old you, you won't look back and you're going to be stronger. And I think we're all going to emerge a little bit brighter from this experience. Okay, let's take a look now at the expanded forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. This will give us new lenses through which we can view everything that we just talked about. Speaking of resplendent energy or bright light, as we look at the health card, which is mirrored, it's mind, body, and spirit. We have splendid torch, blaze brightly. Yeah, I need my glasses for this card because it's a little small, the text. So yeah, a splendid torch. This is you. This is the bright energy. Notice how much we have here in the third chakra this month. Second and third for that matter, because there's a little bit of red and a little orange, a little yellow. This is your month to access, just so you know, like the base one is just about safety. The second is your sexual or your creative chakra. And then we have relationship energy, developmental energy, being able to nurture and birth things. So I see kind of a combination of the creative and that birthing energy or that power energy. So many of you are finding your power. And notice how strong these power cards are. So the center card, Queen of Pentacles, Ganesha here, all about empowerment and showing you exactly where that chakra is. And then this card, which is bringing even a little bit more of the sexual and creative energy into this. So think of this as like Hephaestus or Vulcan being able to forge something. So if you don't like something in your life right now, this is the chance to reforge. Health this month could mean it's a chance to fix something that's wrong with your general health and well-being. Because I see health as an expansion or a connection to spirit, wow, this is really, really powerful this month because you can take your energy and really affect the world around you. You can find your power, you can find your voice, you can pull that energy up through the other chakras, especially your throat. So this is your chance to really find your voice, find your power, make a difference. If you're feeling like you don't have that sense of confidence or power, what you want to focus on in your health this month, you could have blockages around the stomach. So you could have digestive issues. You could have things like an ulcer. You may have appetite loss or too much appetite. So you want to fix the power dynamics because all of that stuff is right there in your stomach, and that's not a good place to be holding on to that. You could also just have cramps and things like that. If it's in the lower chakra, like the second one, this could also be like urinary tract infection or things that are going on with reproductive systems, and that's also not good. So we want to get this stuff fixed so that you feel like you are powerful and you're creative, so that that part of your body is open, is clear, and is sort of freely flowing energetically. The other things with respect to health that I'm seeing are, let's take a look. Mostly, actually, that's it. With the Queen of Pentacles at the center, I would say just make sure that you're not going overboard. Sometimes when I see a Queen or a King of Pentacles, there's a tendency to want to treat yourself too much. So with like food or alcohol, or just kind of like, oh, I deserve this. So just bring things into control when it comes to that. Moderation is key. All right. Generally speaking, pretty good with health, as long as you work on your energy, like feeling powerful and healing your relationships. Some of the body things should start to ease. Always seek out a doctor's assistance if you're feeling anything that's wrong in your body. With the seer here, that's the most important thing. Even though we're in difficult times, it's important to go to the doctor and just take precautions. I'm not a doctor, I'm looking at energy, but that a lot of times I think there's a symbiotic relationship between your spiritual side and your physical side. Don't neglect either. I'm here to help with the spiritual, not the body. All right. As we look at wealth, so when I see karma, in a lot of decks, karma is actually judgment. And so this is about making a decision. And we have this DNA and karma card here in wealth. So some of you are recreating and reforging something in your life right now. Again, look at the colors. It's all orange and yellow this particular month. So this is a chance to rewrite who you are, rewrite your history or your future, as it were. And also to go into looking, and notice we've got the snakes there on like a caduceus or whatever that is. But yes, so this particular month, what I want you to look at is what's gone on in my life, in my career, in my relationships, in my self-worth, because all of these things really affect the money that you make and the jobs that you keep, that has either lifted me up or pulled me down. If it's lifted me up, I want to cultivate it. I want to get that bigger pot, make more space for that, allow for that to be more. If it's limiting, I'm going to take the hammer and break that pot and release that sort of energy and get a larger, more expansive way of thinking and being. I'm also going to imagine that I'm better than people told me that I was. Like that little kid that I was when I was second and third grade. These teachers were not very supportive. And thank God, by the time I got to the third grade, I had some amazing teachers, third, fourth, and fifth grade, that changed my whole trajectory. I wouldn't be who I am today. I would have been, in detention or something, wondering like what I was doing with my life. So I want you to be the teacher maybe, or the parent or the guardian that you didn't have, and think, you can do this. You can do this if you want to do it. But there is a requirement with that. There always is, right? It's the work that you have to put into it. So be willing to submit to the work. This is a kind of submissive card. So, and then do it. So I'm going to accept that I have to do it, and then I'm going to do it. And that's it. And you start to rewrite it. You always have the ability to rewrite who you are, what you do, how successful you are, what you think of yourself. You also are not your ancestors, and you are not your family, because the DNA is clearly at the top. So just because your mom or dad were or weren't successful, that doesn't mean you have to, you don't have to follow in their footsteps. Be you, be yourself, do what makes sense to you, be the star, be your own star. For some of you, that might be more creative or more practical than your parents, but whatever. There might be a little bit of a break from tradition, as what I'm seeing here. But I do like that the main card that I'm getting for finances and for money happened to be the Queen of Pentacles. I didn't get a lot of other ones. So you're in a good position if you own it, if you work for it, okay? Good. Health, wealth. Let's look at love now. This one's really interesting. So what I'm seeing here is a really overarching, really heavy energy from someone else. This looks to me like someone in your life that maybe would take and take and take until you say no or put a boundary up. If you can see here, we have a symbolic person under the sea kind of here pulling at this person in the boat, kind of almost controlling them. And this is the relationship card. So for you, remember, we had empowerment here. Is somebody taking your power? Is someone kind of gaslighting you to think that you can't do it or that you're crazy? If so, use the energy of Ganesha to like say no to this and push back. It could be a man or a woman. This is just symbolic here. So to me, there's a large emotional energy here. So I feel like there might be someone in your life that is very dominating, very needy, very demanding. Could also be someone who is afraid of seeing you rise because this person is at the bottom of the ocean. So it's okay. You're already ready to move on. This is like the Six of Swords in this boat. So it's really your choice as to when you're ready to let go of this energy, okay? And become your own sort of Queen of Pentacles here. Development, power and, just your own sort of independence, all of that stuff wants to come through. But there's someone that kind of is pulling you back a little bit here in the relationship sphere. So try to let go of that if you can. Also realize that if we flip this around completely, you have the capacity to create great change. Imagine you're kind of like this creative earth mother form that we have under here, where you could sort of move mountains or move the ocean. What do you want to change in your life? What do you want to change in the world? What's the legacy? This could also be the legacy energy. And if you could throw something back to the world and create something for the future generations, think about what that would be. I talk about, I think the conversations we should have with our children are, instead of saying, what do you want to do when you grow up? I would formulate it like this. What makes you happy? What do you derive joy from? As a little kid, I would just say, what's fun? What do you like? Then I would say, what's important to you? How do you want to make a difference? And then this is probably too cognitive for some kids, but not really. They're old souls, some of them. If you were to leave the planet and go to the next realm, whatever, what would you want to be remembered as? How would you want to make a difference? That's important. Those things are important. What makes you happy? What do you do well? What do you want to do more of? And how do you want to leave this world a better place? Not what do you want to do when you grow up? We're always growing up. That sort of, you could infer from that, at a certain age, you stop growing. Newsflash, you never do. You could be 95 and you're still growing and you're still learning. So anyway, just realize that you have a lot of potential and embrace that growth. If someone in your midst won't let you do that, it's time to let them go. And you have a lot more power than you really probably recognize. We have a lot of page cards this month. So if I just take this into the realm of relationships, some of you might be dealing with sort of like a mentor situation. Because to me, this is very much a boss or a mama card. And these are very much like the kids. So there could be a lot of people around you. And you could be like this mama energy that we see here too, or papa energy, where you're kind of trying to corral everything around you. Remember here again to make sure that you're not giving away too much of your energy. And if you're trying to date people this month, we have the star card here. Be yourself, whether you're in a relationship or seeking a relationship. That integration, that transparency, and that ability to just shine and be true, that's what's going to bring in a high frequency relationship for you. Most of what I'm seeing this month is about personal development. But with the star card, there's a chance to meet a really significant energy towards the end of the month. It looks like it would probably be attached to what your accomplishments are, what you work, or a sort of like professional sphere, because it's touching the Three of Pentacles. So again, finish things up. You do you, and then other people will be attracted to your self-fulfilling energy. Okay. Give yourself permission to be happy. That's what the Destiny card is here. It says, I'm aware that being happy means that I'm on the right path. I remember in the 80s, there was this whole thing where it was like, no pain, no gain. Do you remember that? If not, if you're too young to remember it, there was this sort of mantra with like working out, and it even kind of went into the 90s a little bit, where it was just sort of like, if you're not hurting, it's not good. So we don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to feel like in our lives, we have to suffer. We have to be a martyr. We have to be unhappy to be successful. We have to work like 80-hour work weeks and have no time for everything to be the best person. Nah, you should be able to be happy too. And if you aren't, maybe you're hiding from something. Are you hiding from yourself, or is there's someone in your life that doesn't want you to be happy? Whatever's going on, I'm telling you, happiness and love are your divine right. Yes, you have to work. It's balance. It's like eating chocolates. You can't be happy all the time. That's being manic. But you should be able to be mostly content and happy and satisfied with things. And when you feel triggered, you should be able to neutralize it. So I want you to make some room for fun, for happiness, and for balance overall in your life. And this is going to be really important, not just for your success, but your general health and well-being. So happiness and love, divine right. Find a way to put it into your life, okay? Let's go ahead now and review everything that we just talked about. And then we will get into the deeper energy of the soul and see what you can do to kick 2020 in the butt and make it an amazing end of the year, because I think that's something that we all want to do. All right. So let me turn the camera down for a second and we'll talk about quickly. This will be about 5 minutes. We're just going to go through everything quickly, maybe 7 because I had a lot, but then we'll get into the next piece. So if you join late, this is a great time to review it. You can listen to the whole reading later. Otherwise, we talked about so much, I come up with new insights as I do this. So just bear with me. This month is about transplanting or moving. And you have outgrown a situation potentially, or there's room for growth if you allow yourself to do that. So the encouragement is to step into the energy of growth and expansion so that you can embrace this. And I think the big piece that you have to think about is that it's okay to try, it's okay to fail, it's okay to experiment. If I were to pick a tarot card, this would be the 7 of Cups, exploration, right? There's nothing wrong with dreaming. It could be the Fool as well. Stumbling a little bit occasionally, but not worrying so much, like just kind of dusting yourself off and giving it another approach. Be gentle with yourself and be gentle with others. It takes time to get the sort of feeling of being established that we saw in that 3 of Pentacles card. And that's all there is to say on that. And then for those of you that feel like you're being put on the bench, like some baseball player that's waiting to get up to bat, there might be a reason. The main reason that the universe is kind of putting out there is, are you ready? And by ready, it could be sort of mentally, but there could also be some prep work that you have to do. So if you're not ready, take the time to get ready. The other thing is you might be at a glass ceiling. If you're at a glass ceiling, then this is your chance to find someone who's ready for you somewhere else. Get out of this sort of blocked space or this, like I saw that pot that won't let you grow. This is your chance to go and to grow. Know that as you start to go on your path of success, and I see it as an eventuality, not sort of a what if, try to help others along the way. Think about leaving a legacy for those later in your life, especially for those of you that are retired or your kids have grown and you want to still give back. There's ways to do that. Also, just check in with people that you love in your life. I have a feeling that there are people around you that might need that extra help but don't have the capacity to sort of ask for it. Listen, this month, that's going to be your most powerful tool. There could be some things being said, and if you're too busy or you're not taking time to sort of check in with people, you're going to miss out on that. And revelation will like someone's true colors will come through just if you're quiet and let them kind of talk themselves into a corner. Try to work on enhancing and boosting morale and dealing with any issues that do come up, whether it's through gossip or through the water cooler or however it's coming through you. Like, if you hear it, talk to someone, make sure that this stuff gets fixed, but also realize gossip is gossip and try not to participate in that this month. Everything will be revealed. So try to take accountability and not have anything to hide, and you should be okay. And that's it. Okay. Let's now focus really quickly on the cards here, and then we'll get into the soul path. This is your month to reclaim power. You've always had it. It just might be a matter of you deciding that you're ready to do it and own it. And that's why the center card is the Queen of Pentacles. Growth, development, nurturing, giving birth. And so for those of you that might be thinking of having a baby, by the way, we have 2 pages here. They are, to me, it would be like fraternal because they're not in the same suit. That would be impossible anyway. But yeah, so I feel like there could be, for some of you, twins, fraternal twins. For the rest of you, this is just maybe about 2 projects that could be leading you in different directions. And that's why we see an archer on this particular 5 of Wands. Take aim, take your time, listen to your intuition this month, whether it's about something that needs to be fixed in your mind, body, or spirit, or if it's something that you want to do in your career. This is the time to do it. Speak your truth, but be constructive with it. The Page of Arrows or the Page of Swords reversed is direct, but hopefully constructive. Also know that everything starts off small, but eventually gets big. As a writer, that's definitely the truth. We all start with a paragraph or a sentence or a word, and it grows into a novel. So take your time. Something great could come of this, but you have to keep at it. And that's what we see here with the 3 of Pentacles, which literally is writing and working. Use your heart. Use your inspiration. We've got the pole star here, and we have the Page of Cups. So passion and spirit should guide you. The 9 of Wands, don't give up. You've worked so hard to get where you're at. You deserve this happiness. This is your time. Take aim. This is one of the most unique chariot cards I think I've ever seen. So it's about really deciding that I have what it takes and I'm going to focus on something. The power is not in trying to control everyone else. It's in controlling my own actions and my own focus. Don't get caught in the crossfire of someone else. If they go crazy, like try to diffuse this, try to use logic, get some other people involved in mediation if you need to. It might be a no-win situation. This is in the environment, so you could also avoid it if you just see someone, again, that's unhappy. Go to them before this happens. That's one way to neutralize it as well. You deserve to kind of be happy, and if that means going back to school or learning something, even amidst all the changes that are going on in the world, don't give up on that. I actually feel like you're going to sink in and enjoy that, sink your teeth into this. There could be something really good about learning something new this month, finishing something too, and you deserve recognition. All of those things are the Three of Pentacles. Finally, be yourself, stand up, be unusual, shine brightly. That's something that we saw here. It's going to be not only important to your success, but your general health. And if others around you can't accept that luminosity, that brilliance, that resplendence, then they're really not deserving of your energy, and maybe it's not a good frequency fit for you as well. Rewrite the idea of who you are. Be the author, be the producer, be the creator. I talk about this a lot, but particularly when it comes to career. You're not your parents, so you don't have to do what they're doing. You're not your teachers, so you don't have to do what they're saying. You're not your brother or your sister if you have one, so don't compare yourself to them. Be strong, be yourself, and do whatever you want to do as long as you're actually happy, okay? Remembering that happiness is your divine right. To that end, if there's anyone in your life that is holding you back from that happiness or your power, this is your month to reclaim that. And also it's a chance to kind of like push away any of that unnecessary controlling energy. All right, that's our review. Let's get into some of the fun stuff here. We're going to look at not just the month of August, but the rest of this year. I think we need to focus on the power issue that came up with Ganesha here for the deep past, or for the, like, as we look at, we'll look at past, present, and future. So I want to see if there's anything that's holding you back or diminishing your power. And then I'll focus on present and future in just a second. All right, so first card, past, looking through the lens of power dynamics or relationships. Yeah, Apollo's in the background sleeping. All right, so we have the Six of Swords, which I saw in that particular card here. I was saying this reminded me a lot of the Six of Swords. So we see the two Six of Swords here. For some of you, there's a question of, are you ready to move on? This is a difficult card sometimes because when you step into that energy of I quit, or if you're leaving someone, like this is over, or even stepping towards something where you're leaving behind, maybe your single life or whatever. All of these things, whether you're moving towards or moving away, there is a death, there is a sacrifice in it. And that's why a lot of times, not so much in this particular card, but a lot of times in the Six of Swords, you'll see a ghost. So what's the ghost from your past? What's holding you back? What are you afraid of not having again? Kind of make peace with that and let it go in the fog or the mist behind you, because to me, it seems like it's time for you to move to that next space or that next level. And so you can't do it without this little goodbye, okay? But once you do that, it's okay. For some of you, this is a difficult month because you could be dealing with loss. I mean, I found it hard over the past 6 months to not find cards about death or transition in almost every reading. So, you know, it could be a loss of a job. It could be loss of a loved one. Sadly, a lot of us are dealing with that. And it can also just be a loss of who you thought you were, right? We're kind of in our own person, in our own self. A lot of us are kind of having a rebirth. But this is a gentle death and rebirth card. The Six of Swords is a journey. So just start the journey and know that you're going to be okay. Use your North Star to be guided, and everything's going to be okay. And the North Star is you. It's your soul. It's your purpose. So making peace with a sacrifice, a loss, or a death is what we see here, a transition. You're on a journey. As I look at present energy here, what I'm looking at here with the star card is, how do you step into that power? What's this big thing that's coming through for you? Why maybe are you hesitating, or what can you do to embrace it more? We have the Four of Pentacles. I love this one because we see this little tiny baby deer here, and there's a timid energy to this very foundational card. And you know, in a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you would see someone holding a coin over their heart. A lot of times that's like, am I worth it? Am I ready? Will people love me? Am I going to have enough abundance and support? And what I see here, it reminds me of the little wren bird that we were looking at too. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to step out there. I know the world can be scary. I know that independence can be scary, but it feels like there's a really great future waiting for you. And this is about setting that firm foundation. So start building things that matter to you. Start surrounding yourself with people that you care about. Every building block from August 2020 on should start to feel like this is the right person, this is the right step, this is how I want to, this is what I'm going to do here. Like there should be a good sense of grounding, because we saw that with the Three of Pentacles. So if it doesn't exist, now is the time to start. Now is the time to build, okay? The other thing is, you know, when I look at a little baby deer, fawn, or whatever, what I think about is rapid movements can scare it. Fear is a big component. So don't be afraid and just take like a step at a time, right? In your new path, in your new journey. You don't have to like dive straight, like head first into this. You don't know where you're going. One step at a time. All right. What's this all about, and how can we make 2020, the rest of it, like better? This is something that I want to know too. So let's see what the cards have to say. All right, we have a balance card here coming through, which is reminding you with temperance, that's what's missing for some of you, is just that sense of balance. And it's so weird. I'm using very different decks, but similar imagery going on here. So we have the karma card here. It's the same image. So this is about shedding your skin. We've talked about that, creating something new, and also knowing that there could be someone else that really digs this new version of you, okay? Because this is a partnership card too. I would never read both of these as partners, but it is. You see the two snakes intertwined. So I feel that like when you find your power, you're going to also find someone really powerful that reflects the same energy, because we attract. I was reading with Chrysalis deck the other day, and all of the cups cards are mirrors. Really a great metaphor for love and relationships, because we attract what we are. So as you start to become the star, you attract that. As you start to rewrite who you are, you attract that. A little work needs to be done, because if I pull them upright, they really are the same. But this card was reversed. So temperance is reversed. And so for some of you, it's like, don't be afraid to go there. Don't be afraid to go after that. I don't know maybe who in your life has told you that, you know, you need to come second, but I'm here to tell you that it's okay for you to now be equal. Libra, balance. That's also part of your right, and that's part of your purpose. So let's help you find that perfect balance, and let's meditate together to do that. For anybody that just joined, or before we go into the meditation, I'd love for you just to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future video. I'd like to welcome all the new channel members. I'm honored that we had about 3 or 4 new people. Thank you so much. I'm going to use a singing bowl at this point so that we can meditate and integrate these messages, and then I'll come back afterwards and we'll kind of wrap up. So this was a powerful reading today, and I feel like it's an exciting end of the year ahead of you. I mean, we're at the midpoint now, so things start to matter here. And with that mama bear at the center, I think a lot of you are at this point where it's really a choice to step into your power and to make a difference. And even though we're in this year where there's so much that's uncertain, right? It's important now more than ever to make sure that you're not wasting any time. All right, so I like the pole star there. So I want to kind of use that in the meditation. And I also like the fiery energy here. So I feel like we're going to step in and become the star. So imagine, if you will, that you're on this path here, looking up at the Milky Way, looking up at this bright star that's calling to you. Close your eyes and imagine yourself on this path with me. Take a deep breath and imagine that you're kind of sampling all of the night air around you. You can smell honeysuckle. If you're looking in your meditation, you can see fireflies gently illuminating the edges of the forest. So nothing's really dark. It's almost like there are stars all around you and their stars are all above you because you have those fireflies around you. And the sweet and kind of thick summer air is giving you this sense of almost like you have this protective shield around you. And I mean, the energy is very palpable. You have this creative energy of night. Sometimes we are afraid of the dark, but the dark is actually, darkness rather, is a creative force in and of itself. I want you to be the light in this darkness. And let's start with finding your own energy, your own power. I believe that for your meditation, I usually use the heart, but I want to go into the third chakra, into that area right around your belly button. And just like the fireflies around you, I want you to imagine that you could turn on your own light within. And it could, instead of kind of flickering on and off, imagine that it's more like a gentle fire, and you can sort of see the embers moving and illuminating, and it's moving its way through your body, but it starts in your belly and it kind of moves its way within your body. So if I were to look at you from afar, I would just see this beautiful, almost crystalline structure that's lighting up with all these sort of embers of light and embers of fire. I want you to feel your passion. Let it go to your heart, let it go to your throat, let it go to your third eye, to the crown chakra. And I want you to start to be that which you think you can be. Are you an artist? Are you a teacher? Are you an actor? Are you still learning who you are? What is it that you want to be? Start to feel like you're already on that path, and allow in this moment now for your energy to start to rise up. And you're seeing that star in the distance, but you're also becoming that star. So I want you to see your light kind of break out of your body in this moment. It's not quite a supernova. This is like the moment that a star is born. So I want you to have your genesis or your birth as we start to do the sound bath. Close your eyes, relax and enjoy, and I'll rejoin you after this. Take a deep breath and imagine that you could push energy out from each and every cell in your body, and imagine that you are shining as bright as that other star that you saw in the sky, and realize that that was your mirror. Maybe that's your past, maybe that's your future, maybe that's a love in your life, but now you are becoming the energy that's going to attract the future that you desire. And that's how we always do that. You have to do the work within. And that really was what the Three of Pentacles was about earlier. So do the work, focus on yourself, realize how much energy and power you have to give the world. And that's going to be a powerful beginning. So just want to thank you all for taking some time with me today. Take a deep breath. Imagine now that your body and your new sort of stellar self are realigning. And you can take your hands, put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that, and welcome back. Thank you so much. Today was a very special reading, a lot of powerful energy coming through. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to take a moment here just to remind you how you can connect with me if you'd like to. First of all, if you haven't already joined me on social media, I'd love for you to do so. My username across most social media is just at Nicholas Ashbaugh, and I use Facebook and Instagram a lot for story reminders and link reminders. So if you're not sure when I'm reading next, you can just join me on those platforms. And same thing with Twitter. It's a slightly different username, but I will tweet out reminders. So If you haven't already subscribed, please do it. It doesn't cost anything, and it's a great way to know when new videos are have been produced. And by the way, if you're going to do that, there's a couple things that you can do. If you want to receive an email when I send out when I produce a new video or when I'm going live, click the bell icon. That'll keep you posted on that. Okay. I mentioned Twitter just a moment ago. My Twitter URL is the only one that differs. It's @Ashbaugh. And if you're having a hard time remembering all of these things, they're on my website, and that's just nicholasashbaugh.com. And I know that Ryan and Maria have put that out a few times. For those of you that were kind enough to give a super sticker or super chat, like the folks that are doing it right now, thank you so much. That helps me buy supplies like this and show up here, and it also lets me know that this makes a difference. We had so many new members today. Thank you. If you want to join, you can still do that. You'll get special emojis, and occasionally I do a Q&A where I will take questions from my members on Patreon and also here on YouTube. So that's a cool perk as well. And if you want to do PayPal, that's my address. Again, that's all on my website. It's just paypal.me/NicholasAshbaugh. Much love and light to everybody. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed today's reading, and I will be back tomorrow. Same time. Let's see, I'll be doing Scorpio, and then I should be doing Sagittarius on Sunday. For the full schedule, go to my website. I'm usually live in the middle of the month on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays and Fridays. So pretty easy to kind of know when I'm live, but you can just figure out what sign by looking at my stories or my website. I always post the dates a month in advance, okay? Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great weekend if I don't see you tomorrow. And again, have an amazing month, because with this star card, I really hope you can step into your light and into your power. All right. Take care, everybody. Wishing you all the best now and always. Bye-bye.